Joining me is head football coach Norm Esch. Talking with Coach Kim Nelson-Brown. Talking with Tommy Gilbert from the swim team. And joining us is Coach Oz of women's soccer. Welcome back to the Titan Coaches Show. I'm Derek Bohlman. Joining me now, women's basketball coach Maya Smith. And Coach Smith, it's basketball season again. How excited are you?
I'm as excited as you are.
I am very excited about this upcoming season. But let's talk a little bit about the past. You got a trip to go to Europe, and tell us a little bit about how that trip went and some of the things that your team did while over in Europe.
No, we did we packed it in every day. It seemed like we were walking 7 to 10 miles. It was a great trip. There were no problems, no difficulties, no arguments, no disagreements. Everybody just got along perfectly, and we saw the best of Italy. It was so amazing.
Well, and your team, they hit the weights, I could tell, because I saw pictures of them holding up buildings. Well, okay, it was the Leaning Tower of Pisa, but still. Other than the basketball, we'll get to the basketball in a moment, what's probably one of the most memorable parts of the trip to Italy this year?
Everybody asked me that, and there's so many. But 3 of my favorites would be our gondola ride, being able to get on the water and seeing the city in Venice from that direction. And then another one was we went on a wine tour of a winery and got to see the ins and outs. It wasn't just your regular wine tour. The people there were super nice, and we took some incredible photos, team photos there. That was really special. And then the final night, we made our own pasta, and that whole experience was different. I'm going to say different in a very positive way. But can you imagine 31 people trying to make pasta? That's what it was like.
It makes me think kind of like about 20-some kindergartners in one room and somebody giving directions, although I'm sure you guys listened a lot better than that. So quick questions about a couple of those. Did your gondolier, and is that right, gondolier? Mm-hmm. Did they sing?
They did not.
Oh.
And that was disappointing for me because I've been to Italy. This was my 3rd trip. And I took my grandmother, who's now 98, still alive. Mm-hmm. We took her when she was in her 80s. And they sang specifically to her. And it was a contest from one boat to the other. And it was, an opera style. And it was absolutely mesmerizing.
I'm sure. And then at the winery, as they did that, did you get to see them stomping grapes?
We didn't see them stomp. We saw them mash.
Okay.
So, the areas where they mash the grapes.
And then you made the pasta. What type of pasta did you make?
So we had a lemon infused with olive oil type ravioli, and it was cheese stuffed. And then we had just a regular. We actually rolled kanaki or gnocchi.
Okay, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I don't know how to say it either.
Rolled that, and then we had a regular, just like a marinara type pasta, and the lemon infused olive oil pasta ravioli was outstanding, the best I've ever had.
And we're recording this at lunchtime. Okay. You're making me hungry, so we're going to change topics here. This year's a big year, 2022. We go back 50 years to 1972, and Title IX is passed. And you played sports, you've coached sports, women's, all that involved. Tell me what these last 50 years have done, the experiences you've had, and the growth in women's sports since 72.
That's so broad, Derek.
I know it is.
I appreciate it.
I'm trying to give you an opportunity to go the route you want.
Okay. My route that I would go is the people that have laid the path before us. Jill Hutchinson over at Illinois State. And then you got Bob Cothran here. And even Coach Jenny Bridges was really good at the Title IX stuff. When I came to Wesleyan, everything was even. Prior to that, which would have been around 1999, things were still a little biased. And so for me to be able to see all of those changes and to just feel at an even level right now is incredible. We did host the Title IX 50-year celebration, and what an experience that was. And I was so glad that all of the female athletes, the current athletes, were able to experience that. And it was just unbelievable speakers. Everybody talked on a different subject and how it affected them, and standing ovations. I mean, it was amazing.
Well, how has Title IX affected you?
I would say, I grew up with 3 younger brothers, So always having to battle fellas or guys is normal for me. But in other issues such as, uniforms, travel, things like that, as I become a coach, I had great leadership when I first started at Carrollton. Went to Monmouth College, and I will tell you there that it was not even. And then came here to Wesleyan, and it was even again. So I think I've probably been more blessed than most coaches in terms of what is fair and what Title IX has done. But certainly there were some times back, like when I was an 8th grader and my younger brother was a 6th grader. He was on the boys basketball team. We had just started a girls junior high team, and I remember playing in jean shorts, and he played in a uniform.
Yeah, that does make it tough. I look back when I was in high school. I believe in 1986, our high school women's team went to state, and that was back when it was just 2 classes, and played Chicago Marshall. So we learned a lot that day.
Hello, Dorothy Gators team.
But exactly. But their uniforms, they didn't match what the men's teams had in high school. So I do see that as a big change over time. The ladies today, how do you help them understand the ones who laid the path for them?
So I definitely think our banquet, the celebration, really popped their eyes open to how some of that was, to hear the stories. Along the way, I think there's been some movies out. The Immaculata movie for sure is one. Even when you look at maybe A League of Our Own, you can see some of those things that if they've watched those, which I know they have, they can take history lessons from some of those things. So I think again, our banquet really opened their eyes to how things were and gave them a new appreciation for what it is that they do have.
Well, I know covering women's basketball with you over the last 5-6 years that my appreciation has just grown leaps and bounds, even from when I was in college to today, and seeing what they do and what you do and the way you play. Some of the plays that they make are just, I would have never dreamed of doing that in high school myself. I was a wrestler, not a basketball player, but still to see that is incredible. Well, let's talk about the season coming up. You lost 3 seniors, I believe. A lot of minutes through those 3 seniors. Your starting point guard, 2 post players, 2 who were, well, they played inside, outside. They moved around, very adaptable at what they did. What did you learn on your trip to Europe about your team this year?
So losing Brooke Lansford at the point guard, losing Kaya Bowen at the post position, and Katie Eck, who played a guard but was our career shot block leader. We lost in them incredible leadership. And I will say this out loud to anybody. Last year was the funnest year I've ever coached. It had a lot to do with the way those 3 guided this team, and it also had a lot to do with the way the younger kids followed their lead. Because you can have the greatest leaders, but if you don't follow, it doesn't matter. So I'll start with that, and we'd miss them dearly. But that their leadership has changed, and a lot of people use the word culture. It's not that our culture needed changing, but what they did was they immersed it with a nurturing attitude. And now that's exactly what my kids are doing for this big group of incoming 6 freshmen and 1 transfer. And to see their growth already in less than 2 weeks, I'm telling you, you would not believe it if you weren't a part of it.
Well, and so our listeners know, the incoming freshmen and the transfer, they could not go on the trip with you.
Correct.
It could only be people who had already attended class here and had not graduated. So your seniors were gone, your incoming freshmen couldn't go. If I remember right, if I counted right, you have 6 seniors this year?
Yes. It took me a while.
You got to count them in your head. I got paper in front of me, so I wanted to make sure. Just as I go, and I'm going by numerical order, Megan Moody, Emily Collins, because I don't want to forget anybody, Claire Rutherford, Caitlin Heller, Kelly Carlson, and Hannah Smith. So tell us a little bit about those 6.
So the first one I'll tell you about is Caitlin Heller. And, Caitlin Heller played kind of behind Brooke Lansford at the point guard position. She has matured in every aspect of the ball game. Her mental approach, her physical approach, her skill set, and definitely her leadership. She was a unanimous captain selected for us this year, and she just has turned such a huge corner, and it's just so refreshing to see her playing that way, which is really good. And then Meg Moody, everybody loves a Meg Moody, Money Moods. She takes a shot, it goes in, everybody's yelling money. We love to have her. Claire Rutherford, she might get mad at me for this, but everybody calls her grandma on the team because she is the person on the team that everybody goes to if they need that hug, the person everybody goes to if they've got an issue or a problem. They go to grandma.
She's a nurturer.
She is, and a nurse in her own right. I'm training to be a nurse, and I'm certain she's going to make an outstanding one. Hannah is battling some injuries and a late start, so she's just getting back into thing. Hannah's been our rah-rah for a long time. Emily Collins, hopefully we'll see the floor a lot more this year. In our exhibition game, she had a really nice stretch. She shoots the ball extremely well. We just would like for her to play a little bit more defense, and she's been getting a lot better at that. But a very creative player. She's scoring the 3 dimensions that Brian Ersman likes to talk about. And then we're missing one, Kelly Carlson. Kelly is Kelly, and you got to love that girl's energy and her enthusiasm. And every day she walks in that building with a smile on her face, and that's probably her greatest asset. But on the floor, she's our bull in a china shop. She's our physical player and has looked really good after coming from long lacrosse preseason.
Well, and then your returning players, other than the ones we just talked about, you have Lonnie Chanterbury. Am I saying that correctly? Chanterbury. Okay, I'll work on that to make sure we have that right. Lauren Huber, Mallory Powers, Abby Spencer. Let's see. I'm looking down the list here as we go. Kate Palmer, Emily Clefman, Taylor Tarver, Emma Kornack. Those are your returning players. What are we looking at from others returning?
Yeah, well, the 3 sophomores that played heavy minutes last year, Kate Palmer, Mallory Powers, and Lauren Huber, have picked up right where they left off, and probably they are physically stronger. The weight room has been very good to them over the summer. We like to see that. They're extremely fit, and they just work so hard in practice. And again, Lauren Huber was the other captain nominated, and really good to see her sweetness, I would say. That girl is the sweetest girl off the court you could imagine, and even on the court, too. She's very sweet, and it's good to see that as well. Mallory looks great. Her range and Katie Palmer's range has just, they've got the green light from 3 feet beyond the arc, so excited to see them.
Well, you mentioned Lauren Huber being nice on and off the court. I'm going to say that goes back to when she was in grade school. She went to a school that I taught at way back when. Now, I never had her in class, but I was gone long before she was probably even thought of. But I'm sure it comes from there. That whole family is that way. Then you got some newcomers. You got some freshmen, and I believe one junior transfer. Well, let's get some freshmen first. Sarah Bally, Sawyer White, the Peyton Jacob, Emily Galvin, Laura Malum, thank you. We'll work on that as the season goes on. The transfer, Kate Knutson.
And we go by Katie. We've got too many Caitlins, Katies, and Kates.
That works for me. So she's the transfer. The rest of them are freshmen. Tell us.
And Martha Lippick, too. We left out a really good one.
Down there at the bottom? So go ahead and tell us about them.
Great. So the incoming 6 are all extremely talented. In fact, I compare them to what those 3 sophomores are now. And again, they showed up in our exhibition game. They were 2 of them were the first 2 off the bench. Sarah Bally comes in as a very good defender and has really enhanced her 3-point shooting since she's been here. And she's got a little bit of a dribble drive for her game. Laura Malum may be the freshman that I'm most impressed with right now. She came in, took a charge in the exhibition game, plays great defense. She is a 6-footer who can guard the perimeter and also guard the interior. So she's very versatile, and her 3-point range is crazy good too. And then Emily Galvin comes to us from Rolling Meadows, was a 3-point showdown finalist here in the state tournament. So her 3-ball looks good. We've been moving her between the 1 and the 2. As soon as we get her to the 2, things will work out a lot better for her, I'm sure. But she's having to handle the ball a little bit. Peyton Jacob is just the smartest incoming freshman. She knows the game inside and out, and you can see her thinking it when she's playing, which is really fun for me to watch. She's a great rebounder, and again, everybody loves her. Martha Lippick is the daughter of John Lippick, who played at Illinois Wesleyan many years ago. And again, the freshmen are good. I'm telling you, they're flat out good. She came in the exhibition game and grabbed 4 rebounds in about 4 minutes. So,
Well, and saying the freshmen are really good after the freshmen you had last year, that's
it is
a big statement there. That really gets me excited about the season now.
The one we didn't talk about was Sawyer White. She's still in soccer and was actually named Freshman of the Year for the CCIW. So she comes to us from Montini. She will be a point guard for us, and when she gets there, it's going to take another notch up. So
now, does she know Lauren? Because Montini's in Lombard, which is where Lauren's from also.
Yes.
So I'm sure
and
they played.
They all had an idea of who each other were because of club ball.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly why I was wondering if they played on the same club or at least ran into each other on that. Well, season coming up, you have exhibition game down at Union in Tennessee on Saturday, and then the next weekend you head up to Holland, Michigan, which you and I have been there before. Had some good memories there. Sure. Played the last game before COVID there, and then we found out the very next day that everything was getting shut down. But you take on Concordia, Wisconsin, and I always want you to be the Concordia because I went to Concordia, just one not in Wisconsin, so we root for the Wesleyan Titans for that. And then probably, if you win that, probably play Hope or you play Geneva. But what a way to start a season.
Oh, my gosh. I must have been out of my mind when I scheduled our exhibition against Union. I mean, that's a top 10 Division II team, but we'll go down there and do our best job we can. Then we go right to the Hope tournament, reigning national champions. Right after that, we hit Whitewater, runner-up in the national championship game. So I don't know who's scheduled for us, but they weren't on the right frame of mind.
Well, I'll talk to the person who does that. I think they're sitting across the table from me at the moment. So you got Hope, you get UW Whitewater. I don't want to say you get a breather, but you actually get to play at home on November 19th against Capital, and then you go up to Eureka, and then right back into the Midwest Challenge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, where we would see WashU, DePaul, and Rose-Hulman, and all really formidable teams. DePaul was in the NCAA tournament right along with us last year, and it's always a good time to play in the Midwest, and I look forward to that. It's one of the oldest running tournaments with the 3 teams still remaining in. There might be older tournaments where they've changed teams, but ours has never changed.
Yeah, always the same 4 teams, and and what
three,
I like
same
about
3.
So same 3. Mm-hmm. What I like about it is you rotate it.
Right.
So every third year, it's right back here, and we had it last year, so I got to wait 2 more years for it.
Yep.
That was fun last year. I truly did enjoy that. And then we'll talk conference down the road because I'm sure you're not even thinking about that now, other than getting the team prepped, ready to go. What is the number one thing you'd like to see from the ladies this weekend against Union, Tennessee?
I'd like to see them come out and play exactly the way they started the game against Cardinal Stritch. That is the most beautiful first quarter I've seen in years. We were on in every aspect. Our defense, our pressure D was on. We shot the 3-point ball, 7 of 8 in the first quarter. It was an amazing first quarter. I just sat there and smiled. I didn't know what else to do. So I would like to see us do that.
Parents were sitting over there going, is that our coach?
Exactly.
They were probably loving it just as much as you were. Well, Coach, I hope there's a lot of smiles this season. I hope there's a lot of laughter with a lot of success to go with that because I know they kind of go hand in hand sometimes.
Do, and there's no team that wants to have more fun than we do. So thanks, Derek.
Well, and I tell you what, if you guys are having fun on the floor, I know I'm having fun
there we go.
there. So that's all there, and Pup enjoys that also. So we look forward. I won't get to see you in person playing until November 19th, but I'll be watching the games on the streams and that, and look forward to that. And thanks for coming to the Coach's Show.
Thank you for having us.
That is Coach Maya Smith, women's basketball at Illinois Wesleyan. I'm your host, Derek Bohlman. You're watching Illinois Wesleyan Titan Coach's Show.